Welcome to Align Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'll be guiding our practice today. My question for you as you begin today is this: what does it mean to be made new? In the beginning, God spoke creation into existence, a new world. And at the end, he says to us, "Behold, I am making all things new." Also, he said, "Write this down, for this is trustworthy and true." What does it mean to be made new? Under the old covenant, God's people were either clean or unclean. And unclean people were people who were sick, people who had touched the wrong thing, women who were menstruating, people who had eaten the wrong thing. But when a clean person came into contact with an unclean person, the clean person became unclean. Jesus reversed that. When Jesus came into contact with an unclean person, rather than Jesus becoming unclean, the unclean person became clean. In his book, Gentle and Lowly, Jean Ortland says this: Jesus Christ's earthly ministry was one of giving back to undeserving sinners their humanity. We tend to think of the miracles of the Gospels as interruptions in the natural world order. Yet German theologian Jürgen Moltmann points out that miracles are not an interruption of the natural order, but the restoration of the natural order. We are so used to a fallen world that sickness, disease, pain, and death seem natural. In fact, they are the interruption. I'm going to read that again. We are so used to a fallen world that sickness, disease, pain, and death seem natural. But in fact, they are the interruption. Today's practice will be a practice of somatic movement. And through science, God has given us this gift that helps us to restore the nervous system, helps muscles that have been damaged heal, helps the mind heal. So as we move through this practice today, I invite you to reflect on what it means to be made new. We'll start today's practice lying down on your back. If you have a block or a pillow, I invite you to get one or to have it nearby. You might want it later on as you're lying down on your side to support your head. And I invite you this time to actually keep your blocks towards the back of the mat. So go ahead and lie down on your back. And just imagine that you're coming into Shivasana. So windshield wiper your feet and bounce your knees and wiggle your hips and kind of settle your shoulder blades a little bit. And closing your eyes, just begin to notice how the breath is moving through the body. And notice the quality of breath. Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it deep? Is it shallow? I invite you to take one hand to your chest and one hand to your belly and begin to feel the breath moving. And breathing in and out through the nose, maybe you can inhale down the body and exhale up the body. And here as you're lying down on your mat, maybe you can feel the air moving into the back of the body. Can you feel the body pressing down into the mat with that inhale? Take two more deep breaths here, taking up a little more space with that inhale, expanding side to side, front to back. Then I invite you to bring your hands down to your side, palms up, and for a moment, just check in and notice how the body has settled onto the mat. I invite you to notice the rotation of your feet, right and left, the rotation of the shins, the heaviness of the hips. Are you even right to left on one hip or are you leaning more into one hip or the other? Where is the curve of the lower back? How have you settled onto the shoulder blades? Are you resting in the top third, the middle third, or the bottom third? Are you even right to left? How are the arms connected to the floor? The upper arms, the lower arms, the hands. Notice the curve of the neck. And notice the weight of the head and where the head has connected to the mat. And take a couple of breaths here and kind of just memorize what this feels like. And throughout your practice today, we'll come back to this and you'll check in and just notice what you notice. As you're ready, bend your knees. Bring your feet about hip width apart so you can rest your hands on your hip points and just bring those fingers to the sky and then kind of line up your knees with your fingers there. I invite you to bring your hands to those hips and begin to tilt the hip up towards the knees. And then reverse, tucking the tailbone. So moving back and forth here, go ahead and just tilt the hips, arch the back, and release. If anything is uncomfortable for you or any reason, do what you can to make it comfortable. So maybe you throw a blanket over your body for a little more protection if you feel vulnerable. Remind yourself that you're in a safe space here. Notice how easily the back moves, or how difficult it is to move the back. One more time here. I invite you to come back to center. Go ahead and bring your hands to your shoulders. Go ahead and draw the elbows in and out. And let's connect this with breath. So exhale as the elbows come in. Maybe the belly draws in a little bit. And inhale as the elbows come out, expanding the chest. And 3 more breaths here. We're going to combine this with the hip tilt. Go ahead and tuck your chin a little bit. Draw the elbows in as you draw up and tuck your tailbone. Bring the elbows back and draw the hip points to the sky, arching the back. Come back to neutral, take a breath. Inhale. Exhale, draw the elbows together and the body up. Take an inhale. Exhale, tilt the hips. Inhale, upper body comes down. Exhale, hip points reach to the sky. Come back to center. We're going to move through this twice more. Find a breath. Check in, notice what you notice. One more inhale. Exhale, elbows together, tuck and rise. Inhale. Exhale, tilt your hips up. It's a crunch. Inhale, release. Open up the rib cage. Exhale, tilt the hip points to the ceiling. Come back to center. Notice what you notice. And one more time. So you know what to do now. Just move with the breath, drawing the elbows in and crunching up, tucking the hips up, bringing the elbows back, tilting the hip points to the thighs. meet me back at center. And just noticing the response of the body. Go ahead and bring the hands down to your side. Go ahead and extend the legs long. Take 2 breaths here and check in. What do you notice? I invite you to point your toes up towards the sky, knees to the sky. Keep the left leg extended. Press the foot into the mat as that right foot comes up to the inside of the knee. That's your inhale. Exhale as that knee comes to the outside. Inhale, knee comes up. Exhale, extend. I invite you to do that 3 more times. Foot slides to the knee. Knee comes to the outside. On the inhale, the knee rises. And on the exhale, it extends. Twice more on your own. Take your time. Move slowly. And when you're finished, check in. Again, just notice the right side of the body compared to the left, the feet and the legs, the hips and the back, the arms, the neck, and the head. Let's repeat that sequence on the other side. So that left foot comes into contact with the mat, the entire foot on the mat as you slide that foot to the knee. Exhale as that knee comes to the outside. Can you do this without the rest of the body moving? Knee comes up, exhale and extend. And maybe you can't, and that's okay. Again, just notice what you notice. Knee comes up, nice deep breath in. Exhale, release. Inhale, knee rises. Exhale, leg gets long. 2 more times on your own. And 1 more time. And then as you're ready, check in. What do you notice now? Feet to head. Take another deep breath here. I invite you to bend your knees. Go ahead and roll over onto your side. And this is where you may want a block or a pillow underneath your head. You can also just support your head with your arm. Go ahead and straighten out that bottom leg. So that's my right leg. And go ahead and bring the opposite knee on top. So my left knee is on top of my right knee, but my left leg is bent. I'm going to lean slightly forward, fingertips to the mat, wrist high, just for stability here. So go ahead and bring that back foot up, and then bring the knee forward. Bring the knee back to the knee, and the back foot down. So again, just noticing, what do you feel here? I have a kitty joining me today. What do you feel here as you move? Can you move the lower body and the hips without moving the upper body? And 1 more time. So now I invite you to lift that leg up, keep it up, and draw the knee forward and slightly behind. Again, just kind of notice, is this easy? Is this hard? How freely does that hip move? And then as you're ready, knee on top of knee, let's go ahead and extend the legs. Bend the knees, come back onto your back. Extend the legs long, the arms beside you. And again, checking in, notice what you notice. 2 deep breaths here. So I invite you to roll over onto your other side, and I'm going to turn my back to you so you can see what it looks like from the back. Just roll over onto your other side again, maybe supporting your head with a block or a pillow. Again, this top arm, wrist is high, fingers forward, shoulders slightly forward. Extend that bottom leg. Bring the top knee to the bottom knee, but keep that foot behind you. And then just raise that heel up. Bring the knee forward. Inhale as the knee comes back to the knee. Exhale as that foot comes down to the floor. Inhale, foot rotates up. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, knee comes to knee. Exhale, heel comes to the mat behind you. 2 more times here. And then as you're ready, just rotate that foot up, leave it up, and bring the knee to the front and slightly to the back. Again, just notice how easily does the hip move? What sensations are you feeling? Notice your thought process as well. These movement patterns are unusual. Go ahead and extend the legs long. Move the block out of the way and roll onto your back. I invite you again to extend the legs long, hands down at your side, and notice what you notice. The feet, the legs, the hips, the back, the shoulder blades, the arms, the neck, the head. Take 2 more breaths here. I invite you to bend your knees, bring your knees in towards your shoulders, and a few times roll up to sitting and roll back. So massaging out the spine. Again, noticing, is this easy for you? Is this hard for you? And then as you're ready, come up to sitting and stay up. And come into your pinwheel. So your left leg is in front, parallel to the edge of the mat. The right leg is in front, parallel, so the front leg parallel, to the front edge of the mat, and the back leg parallel to the other edge of the mat. So I'm working on my mat differently than you are. Hand to hip, begin to gently lift the hip and bring it back. Always, always, always connect to breath. Lead with that inhale, rise up. Exhale, draw the hips back. Begin to move the head in the opposite direction of the body. So as the shoulder comes forward, the head looks towards the back foot. And as the shoulder comes back, the gaze comes to the hand that's supporting you. So 2 more times here. Meet me at center. Take that hand that was on the hip, bring it to the shoulder, and bring the elbow down. As you twist, as you inhale and lift the elbow up, gaze comes up. As you exhale, come back, elbow drops, gaze comes back to the foot. Inhale, rise. Exhale, come back. 2 more times. I invite you to come forward, lift the elbow, stay here, draw the eyes down, but leave the face where it is. Drop the elbows, lift the eyes up. So again, do what works for you. This can cause dizziness, it can cause nausea. It's amazing, how the body forgets to do things and its response when it's asked to do them. Elbow rises, gaze comes down, elbow drops, gaze comes up. 1 more time here. I invite you to come back to where we started. Bring that hip, hand to hip, bring that hip around, draw the body back. I forgot to set a baseline here, but just notice, how easily does the body move now? And stay here for a breath. Exhale, bring those legs forward, bounce the knees, windshield wiper the feet, settle into the sitting bones, and I invite you, closing your eyes, to notice what you notice. As you're ready, come back. So here we are, shin is parallel to the front edge of the mat. The back shin parallel to the other edge of the mat. Hand to hip, this time we'll get our baseline. Go ahead and draw that hip forward. Lift it up, notice how the body feels, notice where the gaze goes. And then begin to draw that hip back and front. So you're actually lifting the body up, rolling through the hips. Continue with this movement, but begin to change the gaze. So look over that back shoulder as the hip draws forward. Look over to the supporting hand as the hip draws back. Inhale up. Exhale back. 2 more times here. I invite you to bring that hand to the shoulder. So my left hand is now across my shoulder. Drop the elbow. As you come forward, lift the elbow, gaze rises. Exhale, elbow comes back, look over to the foot. Back and forth here a few times. One more time. And then as you're ready, draw the hip forward, let the elbow rise. Stay here, look down. Okay, so lost my train of thought there. Elbow rises, let the elbow come down, look down. So start with the gaze, just rising with the elbow, dropping with the elbow. Still moving with that breath. Inhale up. Exhale down. 1 more time. So now let the elbow come up. We're going to stay here with the elbow, but draw the gaze down and then up and down and up. And 2 more times here. And release. Hand to hip, draw back, come forward, maybe 1 more time. Look over that back shoulder again, just notice. Is there any difference in range of motion here? Is there any difference in sensation? Take a couple of breaths and check in. release. Meet me in table. So bring your hands forward and wrists underneath shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Find a little bubble of air. Grip a little bit with the fingertips so that your table is strong. Press in through the tops of your feet. From here, just that hip tilt that you did when you were lying down. Hips tilt towards the mat. Tailbone tucks. How is the sensation different with this gravitational orientation? I invite you to add cat and cow. So go ahead and drop the hip points towards the mat. Bring those shoulder blades underneath and slightly forward, and draw your gaze to maybe where the ceiling or to where the floor meets the wall in front of you. And then exhale and tuck the tailbone and round through the spine and drop the top of the head towards the mat. So very slowly here, and noticing, how does the articulation of the spine feel? Where are you a little tight today? What feels good? How is the breath moving the body? One more breath here. I invite you to round all the way up into a kneeling mountain. Deep breath in, let those arms rise up. And exhaling, bring the hands forward, find child's pose. So back and forth here, again, using that breath to raise the body up. If you need to put a blanket underneath your knees or a towel for some cushioning, go ahead and do that. So back and forth 3 more times. Kneeling mountain to child. And as you're ready, I invite you to stay in child's pose for 3 breaths here. Gently press into your hands and rise up to sitting. Go ahead and bring those feet wide. Find your sitting bones again and gently just drop the knees side to side, rocking over the hips. And again, just coming back to that question we started with. What does it mean to be made new? What would it feel like to have a body without any aches and pains, to have a body that moved freely as it was intended to move? What would it be like to have mental clarity and a peaceful mind? One more time here, each direction. Gently bring those legs forward. I invite you to come back down onto your back again. Well, let's stay here. Bring the feet forward. Find your sitting bones. It's going to have a little extra time in this 40-minute practice. So, hands to shins. Take a deep breath in, look to the ceiling, and just notice how the neck and shoulders feel. Notice where the gaze goes. And release. Bring your hands behind you just a little bit to give you some support. And again, if you have issues with the wrists, you can come to your fists. Bring one knee all the way into the chest. So let's go left. Extend your right leg. This is what we're going to do. Go ahead and point your toe. Lift that foot up a little bit. Exhale, bring the foot all the way into the hip. Inhale, flex the foot. Exhale, extend. Okay? So that's your pattern. Inhale, point the toe and lift. Exhale, come down. Inhale, heel comes all the way back to the hip. Exhale, foot lifts. Inhale, extend. Inhale, lift, curl the toes under. Exhale, bring that foot all the way back. Inhale, lift the toes. Exhale, extend. Again, inhale, curl those toes, point that foot. And then bring that foot all the way in. Flex. Bring those toes towards your knee. Release. Come back to where you started, those feet a little bit further forward, hands on your shins. Take a nice deep breath in. Let the gaze come up. Just notice what you notice. What do you notice in the shoulder girdle, the neck, and where the gaze falls? Exhale, release. Same thing on the other side. You know what you're doing now. So you're going to bring this right foot into that hip as close as you can. We're going to start with that left leg extended. Curl those toes, lift up just a little bit. Foot to the mat, bring it all the way back to your hip. Flex the foot, toes come up towards your knee. Inhale and extend. Take a breath. Inhale, leg rises. Exhale, bring that foot in. Inhale, flex, bring those toes up. Exhale, extend. 2 more times. I'm going pretty quickly here. It's my tendency. Slow it down. Feel the mat underneath the foot. Take a breath. One final time. Curl those toes as you lift up. Point that foot. Heel to the mat. Foot to the mat. Slide in. Flex your foot. Curl your toes. Bring it back out. Take a breath. And again, feet forward, hands to shins. Take a nice deep breath in. Look up. Notice where the gaze goes. Notice if there's any release in the neck and the shoulder girdle. Exhale, release. Now come down to the mat. Go ahead and draw your knees in, wrap your hands around your shins, rock a little bit side to side. Even with the rocking, maybe you look in the opposite direction that the legs are going. And release. Go ahead and bring the feet to the mat. So our final somatic movement pattern is going to be with the arms. So if you're comfortable, extend your legs long. If that is uncomfortable for you, you can bend your knees, feet to the mat. Okay, so the focus here is on the upper body, but you'll see some difference in the lower body as well. Go ahead and bend that right arm like a robot, and I invite you just to circle the wrist. And then as you're ready, circle it the other direction. As you're ready, make a number 8 with your wrist. And begin to bring the forearm into it. I invite you to make it bigger still as that arm sweeps around and across. It's still a number 8. And then make it a circle, just a sloppy circle going across the hips and across that other shoulder and around. And maybe 2 more. Maybe you can reverse that circle and go in the other direction. As you're ready, raise your arms all the way up. Let the shoulders thump down. Do that one more time. Let the hand come down to the mat at the hip. I invite you to take a breath and notice what you notice. Right side compared to left. So let's repeat that movement pattern on the other side. I'm going to shift here, create your space as we're all in our homes here. If you need a little bit more space, go ahead and shift and move. Make a circle with that hand. What do you notice on this side? Does it move freely? Is it achy? Does the hand tingle? What do you notice? Go the other direction. And if you ever experience nerve pain while you're doing this, stop. Run away from nerve pain. Don't ever try to work through that. Make a number 8 here. Add the forearm to it. Make it bigger. Begin to sweep that arm across, making that number 8. I still need more space here. And then as you're ready, make a big sloppy circle. And what do you notice with this movement pattern? How is it different than it was on the other side? And go the other direction. And as you're ready, reach all the way up and let the shoulder thump and do that twice more. And let the hand come down to the mat. And check in and notice what you notice. Go ahead and bend your knees. Draw your knees into the rib cage. Give yourself a hug and rock side to side. Settle at center, knees and feet together, and begin to just circle the knees in the ceiling. Just massaging out that lower back. And whenever you're ready, reverse that circle. Go in the other direction. Did that change the sensation? As you're ready, draw the knees into the rib cage and away. Reconnect with that breath. Exhale as those knees come in. Inhale as you push away. Go ahead and bring your feet down and extend your legs long. Again, just windshield wiper your feet and bounce your knees and wiggle your hips a little bit. Bring the hands up to the ceiling and just lift one shoulder up and thump it. And then the other shoulder up and thump. And 2 more times each direction here. And as you're ready, both arms reach and drop. And hands to hips. Settle into Shivasana. And as you settle, check in one final time. Does the body feel differently than when you started? The rotation of the feet, the weight of the shins and the thighs, the rotation of the legs. How have you settled into the hips? Where are the curves of the back? Where is the weight in the shoulder blades? How are the arms connected? Upper arms, lower arms, and hands. Notice the curve of the neck and the weight of the head. I invite you to check in mentally as well. Attitude, clarity, mindset. Settle into Shivasana. Find that deep breath, breathing in and out through the nose. I invite you to imagine all things new. Your body without pain, full mobility. Your mind without worry, anxiety, or stress, filled with peace and joy and gentleness and patience. Your soul in union with the Almighty God, with Jesus, with the one who makes all things new. I invite you to stay here a little longer if you can. If you need to get on with your day, begin to bring movement back. Wiggling fingers and toes, rotating wrists and ankles, turning your head side to side, from the top of one ear up and over to the top of the other. Taking a deep breath in, bring arms up and overhead and reach as long as you can. Fingertips to one wall, toes to the other, and stretch. And as you're ready, bend your knees and roll over onto your side and support your head with your arm. Find breath here. And that next inhale, press into your hands and rise up. Come to a sitting position, finding those sitting bones. Checking in one final time, body, mind, and soul. What has changed since you came to the mat today? That next inhale, let arms rise high, gaze up, and exhaling, bring hands to heart, finding breath and joining me in prayer. Creator God, we ask for healing. We come humbly before you, acknowledging that we are broken in so many ways. But we know that you can heal. that you can make us whole again, that you can restore us fully and completely to the way that we were created to be. And so we lift up all of our brokenness, mind, body, and soul. And we humbly offer it to you today that you can make us clean. Create in us a clean heart, O God. It is in the name of Jesus the Christ that we pray. Amen. Thank you for practicing with me today.